going on, everybody? It's your buddy, Spaz Phoenix, the YWC Reality Check, here with your August 24th, 2022 AEW Dynamite review. And I'm really glad I don't preview these shows, because you could have given me tonight's card. I could have come up with 100 different endings for a lot of different things. A lot of people would not have agreed, because such is the internet. I wouldn't have predicted how this night went. Nope. Before we get into it, I do want to quickly plug the sort of mini-series that I have been doing on the, I guess, new and improved WWE. I'm calling it the Triple H era up until Clash at the Castle. After Clash at the Castle, it's going to be renamed WWE Last Week, and it's basically going to be a roundup of everything that happened the previous week in WWE, and it'll drop on the Monday morning to set us up for the next week. It's pretty self-explanatory. It won't run the weekends that I have something to preview for WWE. Like, it won't run the weekend that we have, Worlds Collide, Clash at the Castle, and All Out. There won't be this weekend, or WWE this week, that following Monday, because the following weeks will include Clash at the Castle and everything that came after it. So to drop one in the middle wouldn't make much sense, to be perfectly honest with you. So that's what's going on with that. I do encourage you to check out the last three episodes, because there's a lot. The next one coming up this coming Monday will include everything from the Monday Night Raw in Toronto that I was at, which was a fantastic experience. All kinds of pops for Edge and Kevin Owens and Trish Stratus and Aaliyah. Let it not be forgotten that Aaliyah is also my hometown girl. But, yeah, go check that out. I will get Guapo back. We will preview All Out, which is taking shape, not in the way a lot of us probably would have predicted, but it is what it is. There's the plugs out of the way. This week's episode was sold heavily on the Trios tournament match and the big unification match between Mox and CM Punk. This was going to be the biggest match in Dynamite history. That precursor can suck a dick, first of all. We'll get to it when we get to it, because obviously, with that being the biggest match in Dynamite history, it would be either the opener or the main event, right? Right. It wasn't the opener, because the opener was a talking segment. Now, here's what I love. I love that things are bad when WWE does them. Oh, you can't stand WWE. They got those token things that they do. Every Monday Night Raw starts with a 10-minute talking segment. Well, this episode of Dynamite started with an 11-minute talking segment. I'm just saying, I'm not complaining about it. I just, pull up your pants, your biases are showing. Moving on. It's Jericho and Garcia from last week after the Garcia-Danielson match where Bryan Danielson was going to give him the handshake, the show of respect, etc., etc., etc. Jericho came down with the attack. Garcia pulled him off. We're going to talk this week about where you stand in our group and all that kind of thing. Garcia comes out, immediate "you're a wrestler" chance, which is always good. Jericho is really, really patronizing. Hey, I know you just had this really great match. You worked really hard. You were really impressive. But why would you put your hands on me? You need to apologize to me, etc. He tells him no. The crowd chants no. Garcia goes on this monologue, and it was real. And I didn't write it all down, but basically, it was everything that moment was supposed to mean. It's not about being a wrestler or being a sports entertainer. In that moment, I went 30 minutes with my idol, and he was about to give me the show of respect that I needed, and you took that away from me. And Jericho loses his shit. He said, no. You're a technical sports entertainer. You're a sports entertainer. Say it! And Jericho, when he gets his pissed off heel face going, is pretty fucking good. Danielson comes out and he says, hey man, I won't tell you what to be. You want to call yourself a sports entertainer, you want to call yourself a wrestler, I'm not going to tell you what to do, what to say, whatever, but I think, and all these people here think, that you're a hell of a wrestler. And Jericho pushes it, wants him to make a choice. He says, I've got my leader over here, my idol over here, you guys are asking me to make a choice, you're asking me to tell me, to say right now who I am and what I am and basically label myself, etc. He says, I'm not going to make that decision right now. He shoves Jericho off of him and leaves. And then Danielson and Jericho go at it. And Jericho starts calling himself the Lionheart again. So I think that's what we're going with for a little while, which is fine. It goes on about... what was I going to say? He was going to go on about, being the last graduate of Stu Hart's dungeon. Danielson gets in his face and he says, all right, cool. What would your trainer Stu Hart think between you and me? Who's the better wrestler? Your idol Owen Hart. Between you and me, who do you think would be better? Hey, if we decided to have a match right here, right now, tonight in whatever city they were in, Cheap Pop, what do you think would happen? And he said, what do you think would happen if the American Dragon took on the Lionheart? And Jericho, he does this thing occasionally where it's a little bit of the Kevin Owens, a little bit of the prize fighter thing. He's like, yeah, you want that match? We can have that match. Not tonight. Give it 9 days. We're going to do it all out. It's fine. And he says, you got to keep your head on a swivel. You never know what could happen. And then Bryan Danielson gets the crap kicked out of him by Jake Hager. A random Jake Hager appeared. I think they said we're going to have that match next week. So, nice little WWE match added to the card of All Out while we're waiting for a nice little WWE quote-unquote main event tonight, are we not? I'm just taking the piss. Calm down. Jay Lethal, okay. To get away from all the big stories, we had Jay Lethal versus Dax Harwood in a singles match. And I had measured expectations going into this because I thought the only reason this is happening is we're getting that trios match. We're getting that trios match where it's going to be Jay Lethal, Sanjay Dutt, and Satnam Singh taking on the Pinnacle without MJF. Basically, FTR and what's his name? Wardlow. There we go. Which I said it last week, and I'll say when I was talking with Guapo, and I'll say it again now. It's a very weird trios match to sign when two of those guys have so many belts, and Wardlow just won the TNT title. And when you see some of the other title situations we're going to talk about later on, you need all the title matches on this card that you can get. What I will say though is, not Sanjay Dutt, Jay Lethal comes out, sends his boys to the back, sends Sanjay Dutt to the back, sends Satnam Singh to the back, and for a while they have a great match. Dax Harwood's great. He's sort of fomenting himself in this era right now where he's known as a tag team wrestler. FTR are like Triple Crown champions right now. But separately, he's also popping out little mini bangers as a singles guy, which I think is a nice, cool story to tell. Myself personally, I needed this for Jay Lethal because I like Jay Lethal. I don't like anything that they've done with him. They've partnered him up with two partners that I don't think he needed, and most of the stuff he's been involved in has been either goofy or lame, or even, I will say, sort of WWE-esque, where it's like, I like this guy as a wrestler, I want to just see him wrestle. So for the longest time in this match, we got a lot of Jay Lethal one-on-one with Dax Harwood, which I really liked. It was a really good match until Sanjay Dutt comes out at the end. There's a lot of distraction. After a bunch of bullshit after the distraction, Lethal gets the win with the roll-up. Sanjay Dutt gets on the microphone, and I thought he was just going to shill for this trios match that I have absolutely no interest in, which was, as I said, FTR and Wardlow taking on Jay Lethal, Sanjay Dutt, and Satnam Singh. But Sanjay Dutt grabs the microphone, and he says, yeah, we challenged you to a trios match, but we never said who Jay Lethal's partners are going to be. It's not me. It's not Satnam Singh. It's a couple old friends of his. And fuck me, they go to a video package on the Motor City fucking Machine Guns. So now, I'm in. Now, you didn't have me in the first half. What's that stupid expression? Except I just used it in the opposite way, but okay. So, Jay Lethal, Alex Shelley, Chris Sabin versus FTR and Wardlow. That's a match I want to see. It'll also be really weird to see the Motor City Machine Guns working heel because I really like them and the crowd really likes them and whatever. But I'm going to say, once again, the same thing I said about, W. Morrissey. The same thing I said about Deonna Purrazzo. I am happy Madison Rayne now, who's now actually come over to AEW properly. I am happy for these guys that I enjoy on Impact, who are really fucking good, to get a chance to perform on a bigger stage. And I always say this is not a dig at Impact. They put on good shows, but they deserve a bigger audience. They deserve a bigger building. They deserve a bigger whatever. What I will say, selfishly, out of my own personal experience, because before Raw, I went to the Destiny show I told you guys about before, and I got a chance to see Killer Kelly live for the first time. And I wouldn't mind seeing her in AEW either, but like that just sounds like I'm trying to poach all the talent over from Impact, which is definitely not what I'm trying to do. But Motor City Machine Guns getting a proper... This is going to sound shitty, right? And I'm not digging on AEW. I'm going to dig on AEW later on. You better bet your ass I'm going to dig on them later on. But it's one of those, this is a team that I really enjoy. I'd love to see them on a big stage. And if you can't get to WrestleMania, put them on All Out. That's where I'm at right now. I am really sorry. It is what it is. They cut to Tony Schiavone in the back with Thunder Rosa, who's literally crying, and I think Good Mike Work said it on his watch along. He's like, "Oh fuck, what happened? Like somebody died, or she has to retire, or something like this." She's like holding the women's championship, and she eventually lets us all know that she has an injury. She won't be able to defend her championship at All Out. They're going to crown an interim champion at All Out. There's going to be a fatal four-way. They announced the competitors later on in the night. I will get to that in a second. But, yeah, I don't know. I'm all for somebody coming out and making their own announcement, taking responsibility for the championship that they hold and wanting to make the announcement themselves. But, like, and I would never tell anybody what they can or can't do. You could have just made this announcement on commentary, because she looked, like, visibly shook up, and it was uncomfortable. And I'm not saying uncomfortable for me as a viewer, because me as a viewer can go fuck off. I'm one of a billion people that are watching AEW right now. But I'm saying she looked uncomfortable to be on camera. That's my personal take on it, my personal opinion. I could be totally wrong. But if she was that upset in this case, I don't know if it wouldn't have been better to just make give it the respect it deserves, give it the solemn moment that it deserves. Hey, it sucks that this has happened, especially seeing as we just lost Chris Statlander to injury again. Give it the moment that it deserves, but just have Tony Schiavone or Excalibur or somebody just say, hey, we just got this news about Thunder Rosa, there's going to be a Fatal 4-Way. The Fatal 4-Way will be great for the interim championship. It's going to be Hikaru Shida versus Jamie Hayter versus Britt Baker versus Toni Storm. Thunder Rosa did manage to get in a couple nice supportive words to her friend and tag team partner Toni Storm, which was nice, but I wonder if this couldn't have been handled slightly a different way. I don't know. And then we just get into, considering all the real shit that's going on, both positive and negative, you get into some shit that just really doesn't matter, because it's Billy Gunn taking on his son, because his son's turned on him, and his other adopted sons, the Acclaimed, came to save him, so it's it's very strange. Billy Gunn versus Colton Gunn. You got Austin Gunn on the outside. You've got Malcolm Bivens, or not Michael Bivens, Stokely Hathaway in the crowd watching, and you've got the Acclaimed in Billy Gunn's corner. It's silly. Everybody on the outside brawls. Bivens hits somebody with the Acclaimed's stereo. Austin, the Acclaimed, they all get into a big brawl. Colton hits the Colt 45 on his dad. His dad puts him over. He gets the win, and then Stokely Hathaway and the Gun Club, I should say, take out the Acclaimed and Billy Gunn, even though one of them's a manager. And then the save is made by Swerve Scott and Keith Lee. Interesting. I wonder why they took that side. I'm not going to speculate, but there is a very pretty obvious reason. The handshake between Keith Lee and Billy Gunn was interesting, because I don't even know if it would be any good, but I kind of want to see Keith Lee versus Billy Gunn now. In the back, we get Ospreay and his team and Pac and Death Triangle and Ospreay and Pac talk some shit to each other about shit that's happened in other companies that I don't know about because a wrestling company shouldn't give you homework. Moving on. Britt Baker squashes Kylan King in basically a push Britt Baker match, which is apparently more apropos now because she's in that four-way. Baker cuts a promo. She's attempted to be rushed on by Toni Storm. Toni Storm runs down the ramp, but Toni Storm's hacked all her fucking hair off, so that's something. Hayter tackles her in the aisleway, and it looks like she went face first into the apron. I really hope that's not true. We don't need any more injuries. And then Hikaru Shida joins the brawl, and this is your quick 10-second segment to push the Fatal 4-Way that we just announced. So things are very, very quickly coming together. Swerve and Lee catch up with the Acclaimed outside, or sorry, not outside, in the back, and say, hey, you know what, All Out, you know, we want to give you guys a shot at the titles. At least you guys are ranked, because who was it the other week that said, you know, we'll give you a title shot anyway, even though you're not ranked? I think it was it the Gun Club? Maybe? I don't know. But the Acclaimed, they accept, but in that, like, hey, we'll see you at All Out, but we're not looking for handouts type of way. So, competitive aggression, but not personal aggression, I suppose. You've got three little guys in Keith Lee. Keith Lee's gonna pounce Max Caster out of this fucking world, isn't he? That's what's gonna happen there. I'm not gonna lie. Even though they are a heel gimmick, like, the Acclaimed is one of the most over things in WWE. Despite the fact that Max Caster made that rap a couple years ago that people still talk about for some reason, mentioning the Duke Lacrosse team, but now he's endeared himself to the AEW audience by making sure there's a dig at Vince McMahon or the WWE in every single one of his raps. So it's all good. It's fine. That'll be a good match for All Out. It's all good. No mention of the Sammy Guevara Eddie Kingston thing, which doesn't hurt my feelings because Eddie Kingston can fuck all the way off, and Sammy Guevara can find 100 better opponents. Give me Sammy Guevara versus Darby Allin for no reason other than it's just two of the four pillars, and the match would be fucking awesome. Or, like they've been doing recently, let Sammy and Tay Mello defend their AAA mixed tag titles at All Out against Adam Cole and Britt Baker. Oh, well, you can't do that because Britt Baker's in the four-way. Never mind. But do something. Do something like that. Do something cool. Do something that's not just, hey, we really want people to like Eddie Kingston, and Eddie Kingston really wants people to think he's a gangster, so let's have him squash somebody half his size. Oh, follow that guy on Twitter. He's got some thoughts. Fuck me. And fuck me for the next match. The next match, at the 1 hour mark, not the opener, not the closer, the biggest match in Dynamite history was the the first hour main, which is bullshit, first of all. Now, everybody comes down. CM Punk comes down, he's all good to go. Mox comes down with Regal, he's all good to go. The two belts are in the air, and in my head, immediately as soon as they raised the two belts, I was like, whoever wins this has to carry two belts, at least to All Out, just to piss off all the people that were mad about the TNT title. But I didn't have to worry about any of that. They fought for a little bit, you know, scrap in the corner, and then the other guy scraps in the other corner, and we come back out to the middle to, you know, get out of the corner. I don't know why I stumbled along that, because it's tired in here. Punk goes for a kick and fucks up his foot. Now, I'll talk about that again in a second. 2 seconds of an ankle lock, Death Rider paradigm shift. Moxley is your undisputed AEW champion in under 10 minutes. Now, I'm going to keep my thoughts short and sweet on this, because we don't know everything just yet. And I'm not going to pretend that I do know everything just yet. I can think of a couple people across the pond that by tomorrow morning will be pretending that they know everything about this. I can think of somebody in New York that will make a pod, who's probably recording a pod right now, thinking that he knows everything about this. I can even think of some Whoopi Goldberg-looking motherfucker down in Texas who probably thinks he knows everything that's going on about this. But here's what I'm going to say. First of all, somebody pointed out on Twitter that he went to kick Mox, hurt his foot on Mox's face, and then grabbed the wrong foot, which is funny if true. But here's the thing. There's basically three theories going on here right now. Two of them are kind of the same, and one of them is very different. One theory is Punk's not 100%. He didn't want to perform it all out because he wasn't going to be able to be 100%. So they just did this very quickly to put it on Mox so that something can happen in the main event of All Out that will be pay-per-view worthy. Because as I say, it's their WrestleMania, pretty much. That's one accounting. The second accounting is that he legit re-injured himself in the match. They ended it quickly. They sort of like scrambled around to make something of an ending of the match, and they're going to go from there and figure something else out. Okay. The third option is that this is fallout from the drama with people backstage, fallout from the rumor that Punk was going to no-show last week, fallout from the rumor that there was a stab taken at, what's his name, Hangman Page. It was a decision made by Tony Khan that's just like, okay, let's get this belt off of you, and we'll let everything settle down and put everybody in their safe space and figure it all out later on. Here's the deal. Here's the deal, and here's the deal. And I'm going to say this very short, very sweet. If the reason that CM Punk no longer has the AEW Championship tied around his waist is in any way legitimately tied to the legitimate injury of his foot, that is sad, that is terrible, go handle your shit, we'll be happy when you're back. Okay, very, very sad, very, very unfortunate, but all good. If he lost the belt a week and a half before their WrestleMania in his hometown because people are crying backstage, then AEW and Tony Khan specifically can go fuck themselves with a wire brush. Because that's bullshit. 100%. Come in the comments. Find me on Twitter at Spaz Phoenix. Fucking fight me. If that was a political move that we saw tonight, we got to take the belt off you. But not only are we going to take the belt off you, we're going to do it in a less than 10-minute squash in the middle of the show. Then they can fuck off, and they deserve to fail. That's it. That's all I got. I don't know. Moxley cut a promo later on that night celebrating. Either way, how do you cut a celebratory... Like, I know it's his job, I get it, but how do you cut a celebratory promo like he did in either situation? If you have that belt over your shoulder because the guy is still injured, no, just take the belt and fuck off. If you have that belt over your shoulder because somebody else, some third party in the back was crying and hiding in their fucking safe space, then you're a piece of shit too. That's all I got. Anyways, so after all this, where we're all feeling very strange about everything, one way or another, either AEW or life just fucked CM Punk. We just found out that Thunder Rosa is injured, and now we're going to have an interim women's championship. One of the women that was supposed to save the TBS championship from Jobber Cargill is also injured. We hope it's going to be Athena. Everything's all up in the air. But we do have the Motor City Machine Guns coming to All Out, so that's kind of cool. We do have Chris Jericho versus Bryan Danielson, a nice little WWE match for the thing. That's pretty cool. We have Christian in the back cutting a weird promo, and I'm not going to lie, I wasn't paying attention to what he said because I was still reacting to the Punk thing. But he cuts a long sort of rambling promo in the back to Tony Schiavone saying that he accepted the challenge from Jungle Boy. And I think it's going to be some kind of no holds barred type of stipulation. I don't think it's concerned. And when they flashed the match cards up later on in the night, there was nothing on the match card either. I know Jungle Boy said he wanted some kind of no disqualification thing last week, I think, and I think it'll probably be that, whether they call it that or not. Not one of Christian's better promos, but I will say at the same time, I really wasn't paying that much attention. I was paying attention, however, when we got a really, really impassioned, pissed off Ricky Starks out in the ring, talking about how he's having a horrible time right now, things are not good for him right now. In the span of about a week, he lost his title, he lost the team that he was a part of, and he lost his best friend, went off on... hey, we all get told when we get into this business, it's the wrestling business. It's not wrestling friends and rah. I thought it was different with Powerhouse Hobbs. I made sure my spotlight was always big enough for him. I made sure if I ate, we both ate, and if I was eating, then he was at my table, which was a nice little thing there. I didn't write down everything that he wrote down, but it was very good, and it was very visceral is not the right word, but I can't think of a better word for it, but it was very, very good. Ultimately, it ended with him challenging to a match at All Out, which, again, when they flashed up the fight cards later on in the night, it was a thing. It was a whole thing. It's a match that's happening. I'm sort of rambling because everything after the Punk thing was kind of whatever. The last half hour was given to the Trios tournament. This bracket we had Death Triangle versus, United Empire? It's, United Empire is the three of them. Will Ospreay and Aussie Open. Aussie Open is the tag team who's with Will Ospreay that makes the United Empire. Is that the way it works? I don't know. I don't watch. Wrestling companies shouldn't give you homework. I didn't write anything down for this match because the match was fucking insane. Of course it was. I can't get as into it as some people are. The people that are into... I'm taking my sarcasm out of this for a second. The people who have much more familiarity with Will Ospreay and with the guys in Aussie Open who are well more informed than I am, therefore much more invested in this match, I am genuinely happy for you. I'm sure you guys were ripping your fucking knobs off. I'm happy for you. That's no bad thing. It's not for me, because I'm only invested in half the match. The match itself was fucking awesome. Don't get me wrong, these guys should be dead. For all the shit that they did, they should be fucking dead. Except, the ending was kind of bullshit. Because Pac was out on the outside, and obviously in the background we see the guy with the box on his head. And for months and months and months, for as long as I can remember, we've been told, or it's been revealed on social media, etc., the guy with the box on his head in the crowd is Kip Sabian, who we haven't seen forever. But he finally goes face-to-face with the guy in the box, takes the box off his head, and it's not Kip Sabian, it's somebody else whose mouth is taped and they're just there. It kind of makes me think of, this is going to be a stretch, but go with me for a second, right? It kind of makes me think of, if you've seen the movie V for Vendetta, where he's got the Guy Fawkes mask, and when he's trying to escape the broadcast building, all his captives are also in Guy Fawkes masks, but they can't say, hey, don't shoot me, it's not me, it's him, because they're also hand-tied, and they've also got, I think they've got like gags in their mouth or whatever, so they take the mask off, and it's like, I couldn't tell you it wasn't him because I couldn't speak. It was very similar to that, and it was kind of creepily similar to that, even though it's nothing like that. So while Pac is sitting looking at Guy in the box, looking all confused, he does in fact get taken out by Kip Sabian, and then Aussie Open and Will Ospreay hit, I think it was Phoenix? Yeah, Phoenix is a good fall guy because he's the smallest guy on the team. They hit him with some ridiculous, like, 3-on-1 combo maneuver type thing to get the win. If you were gonna have Kip Sabian come out and fuck with Pac, like I say, I'm not even a big fan of United Empire, so it's not like I've got a bias here and I'm sticking up for them, but if you wanted to give them a strong win, especially with what happens in a second, which we're gonna get to, it's fine. But if you wanted to give them a strong win, let them win, and then have Kip Sabian fuck with Pac after the match. But they didn't do that here, which is odd, because that's not typically an AEW thing. I'm giving them credit here. I'm giving them credit for doing a bad thing here that they don't usually do. I hope that makes sense. But yeah, like, you could have still had the thing. You still could have had... you could have had Pac pissed off on the outside that they had just lost, then turn around, then see who he thinks is Kip Sabian, rip the box off, and then get smoked by Kip Sabian, and then I guess you could have had all of Death Triangle chase Kip Sabian out of the ring, and then you would have left United Empire in the ring for what happened next, which is the confrontation between them and the team they're going to fight next, which is indeed Kenny Omega and the Bucks. For one thing, let's be real, we might as well not have the tournament. We know Kenny and the Bucks are winning. I'm sorry. I'm not even saying that like it's necessarily a bad thing, but it's written in the stars. Is it not? Like, they've said multiple times, we held off having the trios titles until Kenny came back. If that's the case, then... Anyways, if they weren't going to win... if they weren't going to win the tournament, you could have had somebody else win and then had Kenny make his comeback later on and challenge for those titles. But no. Here's the thing. Is I know that there's some kind of New Japan thing between Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay. I know people are like yanking their fucking cocks off once again for the chance to see Will Ospreay versus Kenny Omega one-on-one at some point, at some pay-per-view, etc., etc., etc. That's fine. They all came down. Aussie Open left the ring and the Bucks sort of hung back a little bit. It was Don Callis who hopped off of commentary. Oh yeah, I didn't mention Don Callis was on commentary and the Best Friends were in the crowd watching this match as well, which it was a nice little artificial way to increase the importance of the match and the quality of the match. Even if we weren't facing these guys next, hey, this is a match that everybody in the back is watching. You do that kind of thing. People gathered around the monitor, gathered around the gorilla position, etc. I don't know what they call their gorilla position. But you had this stare down, and it's Don Callis doing the whole manager, oh, if I wasn't holding my guy back, then he would get at you. So what's going to happen here? Are we going to get, Kenny Omega and the Bucks are going to beat Will Ospreay and Aussie Open in the next round, and they'll go on to face whoever at the show, and then we'll get Will Ospreay versus Pac? I wouldn't mind that. That wouldn't hurt my feelings whatsoever. Separately, are we going to get the Lucha Brothers versus Aussie Open? I mean, wouldn't be terrible. I'd like the why can't I speak? I would like the Lucha Brothers to have a match on the card, which would be fine. Really, really, really awkward time and probably the wrong night to bring back Kip Sabian, because it was weird, right? And Kip Sabian's with Penelope Ford, who just had her first match back in forever last week on Rampage. So I guess that sort of has some sync up with it, but they're not related to each other with what each other are doing on the show. I don't know. Oh... Total light bulb moment right here live as I'm recording. Kip Sabian and Penelope Ford versus Sammy Guevara and Tay Mello for those AAA mixed tag titles. Could be a fun thing. I'm just putting it out there. Yeah. This let's be real. We put a knife in this show halfway through the show. Now, a very, 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 very good main event brought it back up. These guys are insane. I don't know the two gentlemen from Aussie Open, so I'll just say Aussie Open, Will Ospreay, Pac, Penta, Rey Fenix went out there in the main event and fucking killed each other to send these people home. Well, not to send these people home happy because they're watching Rampage right now, but you know what I mean. To send the TV crowd home happy, which is admirable on their part because they were given a hell of a task. Were they not? They were given a hell of a task because after, I'm just looking at it right now, like the Moxley Punk thing took 10 minutes of the second hour. And then you had Christian doing his boring thing in the back, his boring promo. And I say that as a fan of Christian who holds him to a particularly high standard, especially as a heel. Wasn't on. But it was right after the Punk thing. And then you had Ricky Starks with a really, really great promo. So right after Mox and Punk had their whatever that was, the next in-ring action was this main event. So the next time people really had to get excited, like physically, visually, viscerally excited about in-ring action, was this match. So this match had a lot to prove, it had a lot to do, it had a hard job capping off this show, and I think they killed it with flying colors. The fact that I'm personally not invested in Will Ospreay or Aussie Open, the triumvirate known as United Empire, does not take away from the fact that the match was fantastic. They all went in there and killed each other. I'm going to say it once again, and it did up the stakes and up the adrenaline for the rest of the trios tournament. It did everything it had to do. But you were asking these six guys to revive a crowd and revive a television audience that saw what they saw at the top of the hour. Either one of, if not the greatest star they have on this brand. I'm sorry, Kenny Omega. I'm sorry, Bryan Danielson. I'm sorry, Hangman fucking Page. You fucking can't swear. Don't want to get Steven Crowdered here on YouTube, but you're not Punk. I'm sorry. I would love to see Adam Cole in a much more prominent spot, but me being the huge fan of Adam Cole that I am, is still Adam Cole is not CM Punk. So I'm not just putting out there the people that I don't necessarily care for myself. I'm saying the people that I do care for are not CM Punk. And we just saw, like I say, I'm gonna get repetitive now because it's almost the end of the review. We either just saw somebody get re-injured, we either just saw that somebody's gonna get sent away again for more rehab because they're not fully functional yet, which is heartbreaking, or we saw this guy get fucked by politics. Fucked by politics. And as I said, if that is the case, and I don't know, I'm going to repeat right now that I do not know which is true. If it's the latter, again, AEW, everybody involved in that decision, Tony Khan specifically, go fuck yourself with a wire brush, if that's true. Anyways, this is a very, very, very mixed show. Not that there wasn't good on it, but the good that is on it doesn't outweigh the bad. The Punk Mox thing was shit. No matter which way it ends up being, when the truth, whatever the truth comes out, as CM Punk said it himself in an interview the other day, a lie will make its way around the world twice before the truth gets out of bed and puts its shoes on. So, and I thought that was so appropriate for what we've got here tonight. So we will see how it goes. We will see what the truth is. If he is actually injured, then obviously I've got nothing bad to say about AEW. You had to do something about that. That's cool. That's fine. But like between that and, as I say previously, we found out about Chris Statlander and now Thunder Rosa as well. So we've got another interim title situation. I don't know. I really don't know. The stuff that we have that is good, the Jericho, Danielson, Motor City Machine Guns being featured on Dynamite, I should be fucking hyped about that. But there's way too much weighing down this show. There's way too much, not weighing down this show, but there's way too much weighing down AEW after this show. Hope that makes sense. Hope you guys don't think I'm too much of a dick. Please go check out the Triple H era miniseries before I rename it something else. I've been Spaz, your YWC Reality Check. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation. Keep all of these conversations going. Don't be a stranger. I will talk to each and every last one of you later, but for right now, I am tagging out. Bye, guys.